Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of the Sparks to Skyscrapers podcast. I'm here today with Jake Amendola-Reichard. He started a clothing brand, the Coastal Factory, in high school and is now sponsored by the well-known brand Champion. So we are happy to have him here today. Also, we want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Wherever you may be, whatever you might be celebrating, we wish you a safe, happy, and healthy holiday. Emphasis on the safe, because as you can see, Jake and I are on Zoom today. Neglected to do the in-person interview just because of everything that's going on in the world right now with this pandemic. Please stay home and stay safe. Now let's get into it. Jake, welcome to Sparks to Skyscrapers. We're glad to have you. If you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself, go ahead. What you do, all the clothing stuff, just anything you might wanna add. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. So as Joe said, my name is Jake Amendola-Reichard. I am a freshman at Ursinus, and I'm planning to be an economics and mathematics double major. And I run a clothing company. It is called the Coastal Factory. I'm the founder. And yeah, I guess that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah. So, first of all, when did you start your clothing brand, the Coastal Factory? When did that come to be as a brand?
So it started in 2018. I kind of got the idea with one of my friends. We're just like, what if I just started like my own thing? Because I'd always been involved with graphic design and clothing, and so we started I started brainstorming everything in the winter of 2017, and then by January, I was ready to finally take it live. So January in 2018, we officially launched, and we've been going pretty strong ever since.
Yeah, awesome. So when you started it, obviously it took a little bit to what were the first stages like for you? Because it had to take a while to actually catch on. And I'm sure those first few months were a lot of failures and kind of trial and error. So when did it catch on? Like, when did you realize, okay, this is actually something that I can actually sell clothing and make money off of?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously, I want to say the first 3 months, 4 months, there was just like nothing, and we got like one sale like every 2 weeks or something like that. It was not really that big and not popular because nobody knew about it. And I would say it started picking up. So I signed a deal with Champion. I was very lucky to have reached out to one of the Champion reps. They liked what we had, and they liked what we were doing, so we were able to partner with them. And once that happened, that's when everything just started taking off. People like that Champion brand. They make quality clothing. And so once we were affiliated with a big time partner, we start to get our name out there. And that's when sales started to pick up and our growth started to pick up and people were starting to recognize us. So that was a huge turning point for the business.
Absolutely. So those first few months, those failures, you mentioned the one sale every drop or whatever. How you do it by drops? You'll release a collection or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned the one sale, and then so you actually Champion found you then, and they started to take an interest back when you weren't selling anything, or did you start selling and then they took an interest?
We started growing a little bit more, and it wasn't them that I reached out to them because I was looking for a partnership, and
Gotcha.
I wanted to have that champion. Champion is I love that brand. They make great clothing. I have so many Champion brand things. So I just threw a Hail Mary, sent out an email, reached out to some representatives, and just kind of pitched them what the Coastal Factory was. And they loved the idea. They loved where we were going with the company. So they wanted to tag along for that ride.
Absolutely. So when you're reaching out to a brand like that with Champion, what are the steps that you take, or what are the steps anybody who's either in the clothing industry or any business take to get that kind of boost from maybe a partner? How did you go about that, contacting such a large brand?
It takes a lot of confidence to, come from a company that has basically zero sales and go to a huge time corporation. However, it's all about selling yourself and the idea of yourself, and then selling your brand in the future. Selling your brand at the current state, obviously for me was not going to be great.
Right.
I don't think anybody would take an interest in something that wasn't really doing anything. But when I talked about my background in graphic design and the clothing industry before the Coastal Factory, they really liked that I had a lot of experience and I know where to take things. I know how to take this company in the right direction. And then another thing is you got to appeal to your unique side. You have to set yourself apart from the competition. Now, what sets the Coastal Factory apart is our, I guess, environmental approach to everything.
Yeah.
So I started a collection called Clean the Coast. All the
Right.
proceeds get donated to various ocean cleanup organizations. That entire collection is a non-for-profit. And basically all of our designs, all of our ideas are surrounded by that image of the environment and going green, keeping everything clean. And obviously that's a great message, one that has picked up a lot of popularity in the past years. So I think that was definitely a big selling point.
Yeah.
But the focus on that unique aspect of what sets your company apart and why would people want to buy it, that was the main focus of my email. And honestly, like you said, like how do you go about just going up and asking this huge corporation? I mean,
Yeah.
you just gotta have some confidence. You just go out, throw a Hail Mary. I
Confidence in
mean,
your
the worst
brand,
that they
right?
can say, yeah, the worst that
Yeah.
they can say is no. And then like you could try again with another brand. So
Right.
it's just about reaching out and trying to build a connection with someone.
Yeah. And you mentioned, confidence in that future of your brand. When you're building a small business, how do you continue to grow it to a point where you can reach that goal that you have in mind? Because it's one thing to say, this is what I want from a brand that I'm starting or that I'm working on or working for. It's a totally other thing to take those action steps. And that's with innovation in general. Those action steps are the important part. And you can say whatever you want. You can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. And so for you, what are some of the things that you've done over the past, let's say, year to continue to push this brand in the right direction? Because you've had this champion deal for a while now. And so
Yeah.
where have you gone from there?
So once I picked up that champion deal, I knew it was time to make some changes, some like real changes to the brand. We needed to become definitely bigger. We weren't going to because the deal was just a bridge deal. It was just kind of like a trial type thing. They would give us some products and be like, all right, we'll see how it goes. And then we'll like reevaluate our options. So I knew I had to be more consistent. That was probably one of my major things because, I was doing this on the side. I wasn't really giving it my full attention. And with that, I wasn't being consistent. I wasn't having consistent content that I was putting out there. That's one of the challenges we had with social media. I started that way too late.
Yeah.
Our major growth was due to like Facebook ads and Google ads. However, I would only link it to the website. I wouldn't link it to our like actual like Instagram page or our Facebook page. I would just send them straight to the website from that ad, and that's where we got most of our sales. So I started focusing on social media and I started producing quality content. And so with that, just I think consistency is the biggest thing when you're growing a brand and growing
Absolutely.
any type of business, because you can't really step off that boundary. And like we took a little bit of a break over the summer that hurt us because of the pandemic. We had some problems, had some issues with our distributing facility, and our sales reflected that. We weren't consistent with posting. We weren't consistent with releasing things because everything was just kind of up in the air and unknown. So once we got back on, I would say in like 2 weeks we gained like 120 followers, just basically being consistent and
Right.
getting the word out there, putting out ads, and using all of our resources really, like the advertisements. That's our biggest draw. That's how we get our audience. So growing that small business is just all about consistency.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, I know you pride yourself on the design side of things. That's kind of where you got your start. And when you're designing these clothing drops when you're putting out a new product, how often do you release new product?
Well, sometimes it depends. Most of the time, I always throw out something with holidays.
Okay.
So like right now we have our winter collection. That's our limited time winter collection that's out right now. That came out in the beginning of December. and we had a Halloween collection before that. We had Black Friday collection. So a lot of holiday themed things go out. And then we also just have some general season points. So we'll have like a spring summer collection come out like towards March, more towards the spring. And then we'll probably have another one closer to the summer. And then we'll go to like our fall winter collection at the end of summer, and then another one later in the fall. So it's really about like the seasons and
Gotcha.
pretty much just the time period of where the earth is. Because
Yeah.
we want to make it relatable to what people want to buy. Like people don't really want to buy like heavy winter stuff in like the beginning of spring. It's kind of going to be saved for the
Right.
end. So we time what type of clothes we drop depending on the weather.
Yeah, and with your designs, when you're going through the process of crafting these unique designs, are they something that it's a struggle to come up with new ideas and new designs? Are you always looking for inspiration with that? Because again, these brands there's a lot of brands just like you that are looking to get a start or a big sponsorship from a big brand like Champion, and they're running into blocks with their advertising and with their creation of products that are new and exciting, and maybe they're stuck on an idea and they can't figure out a way to extend their brand past their original idea. So with your design ideas, is there anything that you would say to these other small brands that are kind of trying to figure out their path and their way to actually come out with new designs and new products past their original designs and what they're originally starting to do?
Yeah. So how I think of all my designs, it's just kind of like random inspiration that happens. Like like a lot of thinking gets done in the shower. You get those weird shower thoughts, and you
Right.
say, wait, that would be a great idea. And then honestly, just walking around anywhere, you just like walk it. Like I just released. There's a sweatshirt that has a picture of the Brooklyn Bridge on it with our logo on top of it, and I got that from just like watching a documentary. I saw the Brooklyn Bridge, and I'm like, hey, wait, that's like a very aesthetic and photo-esque picture of the Brooklyn Bridge. So like, why not trying to
Yeah.
tag that on the shirt? But the main thing is to kind of pick a style and go with it. Like we kind of have a theme, again, like the environmentalist theme and a beach theme. Um, those are the kind of main themes that we stick from. There are some designs that deviate from that just to add a little bit variety, but for our main focus is having that unique style. And I guess following that style for other brands is really important. So if there's another brand, if they have a certain style, like every artist has its own like unique style, its own signature that you can kind of recognize. So sticking with that art style is huge because that helps with brand recognition. And once you start kind of trying to focus in on this certain style and aesthetic that you have, these ideas could become easier and easier to think of. It just kind of pops in your head if you're stuck on a design. Just keep at it, and then obviously something else will come through because this certain style that you have, it's really important to maintain that. And I guess I don't know. Again, like what I said, a lot of my designs come from just random
Yeah, random
spots of
thoughts.
random spots of inspiration. But always keep your eyes out anywhere you are. Even if you're clothing shopping, just look at something you like the kind of aesthetic of it. You can try a new style if you want, but always be on the lookout for inspiration because honestly, it's everywhere. You can get inspired from anything.
One thing I want to go back to is you were talking about when the pandemic first kind of came around, you were having trouble with the distributors and shipping orders. And when you were going through that, was there ever a moment where you said, maybe this is going to be it for us as a brand? Did it ever go into question? And if not, was there ever a moment where you kind of had to say, okay, I'm bearing down on this and we're going to make it through? And what was that like for you?
So I don't think there was really a moment where we were like, this could be it. Obviously, it was a struggle point. We all knew that this was definitely going to be something incredibly difficult to go through. Just not only as a business standpoint, but from a personal aspect. Everyone that has ever been involved with this brand, they're all experiencing hardships through this pandemic. So what we decided to do, as I stated before, we just kind of like took a break a little bit, because my distributor and my manufacturing and my warehouse, they're all down in North Carolina, and they saw a sudden spike in COVID cases over the summer.
Gotcha.
Up until that point, we were kind of maintaining it. We were doing good. We put in many safety precautions. Everybody that handled any clothing had to be wearing a mask, gloves, all your PPE. And then we got to a point where this case spike happened, and we were like, okay, like we can't allow, I can't allow people to go in there and keep working at like the same pace. We need to slow things down. We need to spread people out, limit how many people can go in. And so what I did is I left it up to my distributors and manufacturers. I kind of asked them what they thought would be the best, because I did not want to put anybody at risk. So I put it in their hands, and they said that they definitely need to slow things down, take it back a little bit. So at that point, it was that's why there was not a lot of content coming out. There wasn't a lot of new clothing, because we didn't want to up any type of sales. We didn't want to have an increase in sales at this point. I know that kind of sounds ridiculous, but
Right. It's
we
about
wouldn't be able to.
safety.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to maintain it, and we wanted to keep everybody safe. That was obviously our main priority. So we slowed things down, and it did take a toll financially on us. Definitely saw a big stint of a long period of time where we weren't getting a lot of sales. But like you said, we just kind of bared down, and we got through it, luckily, and we're starting back again, putting in more safety protocols, but we're working back up to speed. And we definitely have a different process going down there, which is helpful.
Do you have like a team of people with you, or anybody else doing this along with you, or is it just you that's in charge of it and running the whole operation?
Right now it's just me. I mean, I did have a friend that was kind of just like helping along the way a little bit. But it's really just me. And then my distributor and manufacturer, they're one business, but previously, before the Coastal Factory, I had worked at another clothing company for just like doing intermediate designs. I wasn't really doing like like a whole lot with them, but
Gotcha.
they were involved with them and they were affiliated. So after I wanted to start my own clothing brand, I reached out to them. I said, "Hey, would you like to, pick us up? I think this could be a great deal for the both of us." So they are themselves are their own entity. However, we have a contract right now where which means that they are like I'm their priority. I'm pretty much
Gotcha.
the only company that flows in and out of that business. So they're their own entity. They're entitled to their own name. So that's one of the main reasons why I kind of let them do what they wanted during the pandemic. I just wanted to make sure everybody was safe.
Yeah, yeah. And so one thing I want to mention for all of our listeners and viewers, um, what Jake is describing right now with this pandemic and what's been going on with his distributors, it's just another example of a word that our mentor Maureen Cumpstone uses a lot, which is grit. And she gave us a whole, I don't know, I'm sure you remember, she gave us a whole
Yep.
presentation in a meeting about grit and what it means to persevere through times that are difficult. And the next thing I want to ask you about is your Clean the Coast line, kind of like a section of your sales. What inspired you to actually start that? I know it's a nonprofit, as you said, and the proceeds go to cleaning the ocean. Was there an inspiration behind that? How did that come to be?
Definitely. So this goes back to the friend that helped me kind of a little bit throughout the way. We would always go down to the beach. I was going down to the beach all the time since like way back since I was a baby. And we'd go to Ocean City, New Jersey every single year. We'd go there for like weeks at a time. And it was like the best part of our lives. Like we looked forward to that every single year, every single time we were going to go. It was just so much fun. So we had a lot of fond memories at the beach. And, kind of growing up, we started to get a little more aware about the issues that were going on in the world. And we started to, find out that our beaches were like, even Ocean City, New Jersey, a beach that's like fairly clean, is it's still getting polluted. There's still a lot of bad things going on, especially after Hurricane Sandy. That really kind of took a big hit on the East Coast. So the beaches all up and down the East Coast were, heavily damaged. There's a lot of debris in the water. And so after we kind of saw that was just kind of imprinted in our brains, and then come time to 2018, we start this brand. And we weren't really motivated by money at all, so we just really like doing this. I really like designing clothes. So it was just something fun for us to do. Like, we didn't really care about making money off of it. So what we decided to do is we decided to start this Clean the Coast line, because we were able to take this money and do something good with it, and create something bigger than ourselves, which is obviously, I think, everyone's goal when they're trying to start a business. You want to create something bigger than yourself. And so luckily we were able to create this, and we were able to collaborate with a lot of fantastic organizations that are doing major work down in, like, say, the Bahama Plastic Project. That is a huge organization. They're doing wonders down there in the Bahamas because they're having extreme difficulty with ocean pollution. And then, we were able to collaborate with, say, like Oceana, who focuses on pretty much a broad spectrum, whole world type of cleaning. And especially they were pretty involved in the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And so being able to give back to these organizations for everything that they're doing and helping clean the environment, because obviously that's a big concern of mine, and that's a big concern of everybody involved with the company.
Yeah.
We really focus on trying to keep this environment clean and trying to keep it healthy. So really we just felt morally obligated to, put our money into something better than ourselves.
You really have to be passionate. You have to have grit, and you have to want to keep improving. And I think those are three things that entrepreneurs are missing. And I just also realized that Vaughn was supposed to join. Vaughn from Ursinus. He was supposed he was supposed to join us, and I just didn't send him the link. So I'm so sorry, Vaughn. We're gonna get you on. Vaughn helped us. Vaughn helped us create this podcast, and I'm sitting here talking, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't send Vaughn the link. So Vaughn, you'll meet the audience on episode 3. I promise. I promise. Spring semester, okay? We got you. He's gonna be so angry at me. But at this point, we can't do the interview over again. We've had too much great conversation.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So I think that's really all that I have for you today, Jake. Is there anything that you want to say to any entrepreneurs or anybody that's innovating? It's okay if not, but also at the end, when you're done saying what you want to say, plug your stuff, your social media, the Coastal Factory, all that stuff. So the floor is yours.
Yeah. So first of all, just thank you for having me. I thought this is a great opportunity. This is really fun to join a podcast. It's my first time doing kind of anything like this. Yeah. And kind of a message goes back to that word that I was saying over and over again, which is consistency. I would say that's the number one thing to take away from this podcast. Starting a small brand, you need to be consistent. Or else everything just kind of crumbles. Once you start being consistent, you will really see a difference. I know we saw a difference. We were able to, generate like 80% more sales than what we've ever had before, just by being consistent and posting consistent content, putting out consistent clothing, everything. It just rings off that word consistency. And then, as Joe said, I have to plug. So, go follow the Coastal Factory on Instagram. It's just at the Coastal Factory.
We'll put it all down in the description as well.
Oh,
so.
Great. Yeah. And then coastalfactory.com is where you can find everything. Right now we have our limited time winter sale going on, our winter holiday editions coming. I know there's going to be some more markdowns later going on, some bigger sales later. And so thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for watching episode 2 of the Sparks to Skyscrapers podcast. We will be back in the spring semester 2021. We'll see you next year. Have a great holiday. And like I said, we'll see you next episode. Thank you for watching.